Alright, we're going to do a segment on this channel called Storytime. Now, I already did Storytimes before, like 2 of them, how I escaped the cops, and stuff like that. Mainly how I escaped the cops. So anyway, we're doing a 3rd Storytime today, and yeah. So this is a long story. So me and Jacob and his brother Joe were at the park, and we were just chilling. We were playing. I was playing basketball, and I went home because I really didn't feel well, and Jacob and Joe followed. So I felt better because I took some medicine, and I was all good. And then oh yeah. So after that, we were told by my parents that we could not have a fire in the backyard like I usually do in the summer, or well, it wasn't even summer. It was like middle of spring. We were told that we couldn't have a campfire at all, and we did anyway because we're juveniles, and I didn't want to disobey my parents. It was mainly just Jacob's brother Joe. So Jacob and I were joking around the fire, and Joe kept adding more and more and more and more and more to the fire. But let's go way before that. So before the fire, we just sat outside, played, and we were tossing football around, and Joe's like, "Oh, so you want to have a campfire tonight?" And I said, "Well, I don't really think that's a good idea." So then he was trying to talk me into it. So after a while, I finally he finally talked me into it, and yeah. So the meanwhile, we Joe and I and Jacob were all playing this game called Dare or Dare, where it's pretty much you have to take a dare, and if you don't, you have to take a punishment. So Jacob was dared to, after somebody was done taking the bathroom, to get a swirly in the toilet. That was funny. And I was dared to eat cat food and stick my face in the litter box and eat a whole tube of toothpaste. That was disgusting. But anyway, we went outside after everybody went to bed, and my mom hadn't even come to work. So that was like that was really stupid of us to start a fire, and my mom not even coming to work. Like, if she's not there and she doesn't know that I have people over, well, my grandparents do, and that's a really bad idea because like she could catch us doing this. So we were starting a fire, and we had a whole bunch of boxes around, and we had like tons and tons and tons and tons of boxes around because we're trying to clean out stuff in the backyard because it was really, really, really messy. And we had started the fire, and it was just on paper, old schoolwork and stuff like that. And we were having fun for like the first 2 hours that we had this fire. And then there came the 3rd hour. I went inside to go get bread to roast on the fire. That never happened. That got blown out of proportion. Jacob had cosmic brownies, and we were eating those. It was fun. And here's the tea. So Joe kept putting boxes on top of the fire that I was going to use for just to clean up stuff in the backyard and to put stuff in and put my stuff in. He never asked anybody if he could use those boxes. He just started piling them on, and I kept kicking them off of the fire. I kept pushing them off of the fire. He kept adding more and more and more until I think the fire got up like 5 feet, 6 feet. It's like as tall as us, maybe 5 feet. And the fire kept getting taller and taller and taller. The cops, or not the cops, but later I found out that, well, the firemen showed up, and before that I heard sirens, and I said, what if those sirens were for us? And to find out that they were. So So I heard sirens coming from Danville. If you're like with me right now, and I'm sitting right here in my kitchen, Danville is that way. Like Danville's over there, and you're coming this way. So there were firefighters from Danville, and there were firefighters from Bloomsburg. Now I live close to the fire hall, and I live close to the middle school, and I live close to the park. So I'm in between all those three places. The fire hall is there, Danville is there. So there's fire trucks coming from Danville, coming from the fire hall, and I wasn't expecting it, and like we were just about to put out the fire. So here's where it gets crazy. So we put out the fire, and then the fire trucks showed up. They circled the block. Like, and there was like 4 fire trucks, and there was like 5 cop cars, and there was like 2 ambulances. What's the plural to ambulance? Ambulances? Whatever. So here's where it gets crazy. So Jacob, Joe, and I, like, snuck upstairs, and my grandfather gets up, and he goes outside to the firemen, because he sees all these sirens out there, and it just wakes him up, because the light's coming in the window. So he gets woken up, and there's all these like emergency vehicles out there, and the fire's already put out. And my grandfather gets up, and he has no idea what happened. Later he finds out that we apparently did this, and he thought that we ran because we all left our shoes outside. At least I think some of us, or I think I left my shoes outside. So he thought that I ran, and we were all hiding upstairs with all the lights off. Nobody cared to check up in the attic where I live, where I sleep at night. Nobody cared to check up there to figure out if we were up there or not. Like sleeping or hiding or doing whatever, laughing, goofing off, doing whatever. And my mom finally came home, and first thing she did was go home. First thing she did was go up to bed, cause she doesn't come home until like 11 o'clock, 12, midnight, 10 p.m., somewhere around there. So I was somewhere around there. She came home, and she walked in the house, and then she saw all 3 of us like sleeping, or pretending to, or actually sleeping. We were pretending to sleep. So we were pretending to sleep, and I was gonna pretend to wake up, but our excuse was that we had a fire earlier, and it got reignited. But meanwhile, Jacob's phone was left out there, and my grandfather was gonna bring it inside and give it to us, but the firemen were like, "Oh no, just leave it out there." Of course, they didn't care, because they had to get off of their job eating donuts. So the cops, so they didn't care. They just wanted to leave his phone out there. But yeah. So then later, oh hi cat. Later the next day, I found out that the Miss Crane, who's my neighbor, the librarian for our school, her former neighbor, former librarian, she retired, had called the firemen on the fire, because she knows that we have campouts, and like she kind of watches because she's up around that time. So I think she was watching to see if it got out of hand, and she wasn't mad at us, and I was surprisingly I didn't get in trouble at all, because I had explained like everything that happened and our excuse, but mainly actually I told the truth, everything that happened, and that my parents weren't mad at me really. It was only my grandfather. So yeah, everybody stayed out of the house for the most of the day, just me, Jacob, and Joe. We went to the park, and then I don't know what happened after that. I still wanted to go to the movies, and somehow I got driven to the movies the same day after that fire had happened. So yeah, that is story time, and I will be bringing to you guys a story time tomorrow morning. So be tuned, be ready for that, and I will see you guys later. Bye!